welcome to another episode of Meant to Vent News. My name is Jaime, and if you're new to the channel, what I'd like to do here is give my crazy thoughts and opinions on trendy news around the globe, and somehow I connect them to conspiracies. And lately, it's been really easy to do. And a lot of times, these connections that people have been having lately have been really awesome. This is like, when you see those crime scenes in movies or the detectives, and they got all those strings and all the photos, and they piece together all the possible connections. I feel like that's what's happening right now, you know? And with all the corruption getting exposed and all the scandals and all the drama that's currently going on everywhere, like on the news currently, it's like now I think is the best time more than ever to talk about bad timing. And every time I talk about bad timing, it seems like you come back to a certain family. The Bushes. From a strange meeting on the morning of 9/11, where the Bush family supposedly met with the brother of Osama bin Laden. That wasn't weird. To being a member of a secret society called the Skull and Bones. Also possibly having ties and allegations to the assassination of JFK. It started in 1981 on March 30th. George H.W. Bush's son Neil had a dinner date planned on the following evening with a guy named Scott Hinkley. Yeah, that's right. A Hinkley family member. What they planned on meeting on this next date. That wasn't strange at all. Like, it's perfectly normal to be a member of the Bush family and hang out with some guy who happens to be a criminal just before, a crazy event happens. It's normal in the Bush family. It's normal in that Bush gang, But what also happened on this day on 1981 on March 30th, President Ronald Reagan was shot. They say it happened at 2:30 p.m. At the Hilton in Washington, D.C., where Hinkley stood in front and fired several bullets of .22 caliber that hit President Reagan and punctured his lung. And I guess the president was rushed to George Washington University Hospital, where he underwent like an emergency surgery, and thankfully he survived. He survived this assassination attempt, which was pretty crazy because it would have put George W.H.W., in the Oval Office at the time. He was lined up to be next, and so people think this was like could this be like a possible coup? Which is a funny word. Every time we're like in America and then like some comes up, it like a foreign word happens to be involved. So they can maybe blame it on them. I don't know what it is. It's a coup, But there has been a lot of stories that have come out and a lot of rumors. And some people say that it wasn't that much of a rumor that George Bush and Ronald Reagan didn't like each other. Like some said even like I read in a book somewhere that they said that they hate each other's guts. So apparently if you're in the CIA, you don't really want to piss off this guy if he's a member of your family. So the story goes that Hinkley did this in like an act of love, which isn't creepy at all. They say he wanted to get the attention of Jodie Foster. And he also told the media that this was the greatest love offering in the history of the world. Man, that's creepy. What else is creepy, like if they bought it, and apparently they did buy it. Because at his trial, Hinkley was found not guilty by reason of insanity, and he was confined to St. Elizabeth Hospital in Washington, D.C., where they say he's like currently there. I don't know if he's alive or dead now, but I guess he's like currently there. Another interesting fact about the Hinkleys is that they owned an energy company called Vanderbilt Energy Company. And this company was facing a multi-million-dollar fine for overpricing oil. And that's not strange at all either. Like, that couldn't be no reason why they'd be upset with somebody and maybe want to talk to somebody that's in the CIA or not in the CIA, and have a secret meeting with them to talk about somebody that might be in their way or trying to be some bumps in their road. That's not strange at all, is it? Not strange at all. What I also find strange is, when they talk about his connections with the CIA, how much the president or ex-president, denies it all when there's a lot of proof that he was in it. There was a lot of proof that he was in the secret society, and there was a lot of proof that he was in the CIA. They say he was the director of the CIA, like he was put into the, as the boss. Like, I mean, if somebody was going to have the power to maybe plot something against someone else, maybe it was somebody that was the director of the CIA. Like, who else would be able to have that kind of pull? I don't know. Maybe the guy who's the head of the CIA. I mean, I'm just saying. And it's also strange when all these crazy things are happening right now. And like I said before, like with all this intel and like this information age where we can get all this information, some of it's fake, some of it's real. It's a lot of fun to siphon through to, decide on what you think is real or fake. But when you find the real stuff, they're super quick to say that ain't real. Like, I mean, look what happened to the files. They were once real, thousands of footage and thousands of hours of videos and all kinds of lists of names and binders and all this kinds of stuff, to now nothing exists. And then you wonder all the connections that can be involved in that. We could go on all these connections, but this is wild. This Bush family seems to have a lot of ties when it comes to these crooked, big, not only like big events, these were big like events in history that changed things that happened in the future. Like when 9/11 happened, the Patriot Act was signed, and like all our privacy just like disappeared. Like they was just like, oh, if secret words come out, we could start, monitoring you. When the whole time you just started monitoring us. It wasn't about no secret words. They were just like, hey, they said, okay, now we're just monitoring you. So, we lost our privacy like all together while they were supposedly looking for terrorists, And it's kind of wild how that stuff kind of happens. And all these connecting things, like all these big events, it seems like it happens around this family. And like, I'm only saying this for entertainment purposes, I enjoy life. But it's just really, really, you follow, they say to follow the money and things like that. It's also like, you follow these certain families that it's strange the more connections you find, and I can go on. And it's strange that we had the Bush bin Ladens, him in the Skull and Bones, him in the CIA, him in JFK, and him and Ronald Reagan. I mean, that's a lot of connections. That's a lot of connections to just be a coincidence. It's really interesting. But I wouldn't want to get on the bad side of this family. That's all I'm saying. Well, my name is Simon, and this has been another episode of Meant to Vent News. Till next time. See ya.